Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for another VA to VA Hangout on Air. Today, we are going to be talking about tools of the trade when working with a team, and I want to introduce the other two panelists. This morning, Tammy Durden of, let's see, Tammy's Office Solutions. I'm sorry, as long as I've known you. Tammy has laryngitis today, but she's still joining us with a pretty smile, and she will be chatting any comments or questions that she has. Nanette Telemack of, what is your business again, Nanette?
In essence, virtual assistants.
That's right. Comes to us from the New Hampshire area. And myself, I'm Lisa Kolb with Augusta Virtual Assistants. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Nanette. What are some of the tools of the trade that team leaders, managers, and team members should be using?
I guess they should be using the basics. I mean, the basics for anyone to get started, whether they're a VA or a small company, right, is ability to collaborate with their customers, so a collaboration tool, communication tool. And when I say collaboration tool, it could be something like Asana, Basecamp, or Red is it Redbook? And then being able to communicate with your clients, so Skype or Google Voice, or and then I would think that, well, for me, keeping myself on task is important. So a business task tool, and it can be the same thing like the collaboration tools. A lot of them have tasks incorporated within it for yourself as well as for your clients. But if you want to use something separate, it could be Evernote or OneNote or one of those workboards. And because I find that I need to write down everything I need to do, or I can get quickly scattered. Especially for trying to build a multi-VA business, what I need to do and what I need to do, having that task management in front of me is important. And I like the collaboration tools basically for working with customers, so they can also see what I'm doing, and it's a good way of collaborating together on what I'm doing for them. And the next thing is e-signature. Which is, of course, a digital signature, which is it just saves you time. Those, I think, right there are basics, and of course you need your invoicing, so QuickBooks or FreshBooks or something like that is also important if you're going to be invoicing your customers.
Right.
And also time tracking. Yeah. I use a time tracking tool called Paymo, which also allows me to invoice. I like it. It's although it's not free, it allows me to add, like if I have I picked it and I may choose something different, but for now I can have someone who works with me on there, and she can track her time, and so I can see what she's doing, and I can easily invoice the customer. So it's not bad. What do you use, Lisa?
Well, I for project management, I love Client Spot, and I see on the forums not a lot of VAs are either familiar with it or use it, but it's my favorite. I did a lot of research before I started my business and before I even started a team, but I knew what I was going to need. I needed file sharing. I needed a task timer at the time, and still do use that sometimes. Even though I have packages, I still use the task timer at times. It allows me to add, and at first I started with the free version, and then I bought the minimum version, or pay for the minimum version. I think it's 10 clients on the version. And I add the client in as a project, and then I put tasks in under that client. It gives me a lot of room to customize for my business. So I like that. And then I can email the client a username and password, and they can go in, look at their project, just theirs, not anyone else's, and see what we've been doing, what day we did it, how long it took, if necessary. Um, and then that gives a little bit more, it builds trust. You hear the things, well, what do you, am I sure you're not walking your dog when you're supposed to be doing my stuff, or taking a shower, or fixing a peanut butter sandwich, or something like that. So if they are allowed to go into the project management software and see what is being done, not real time, but it is listed and it is shown that it's in progress or completed, um, then that gives a little bit of transparency and builds trust, in my opinion. And then, of course, we have to have a video communication style, and each one of my clients is different. I have a client who likes Skype, but he does Skype chat. He
Oh,
doesn't do the video. He likes Skype chat, um, which to me kind of defeats Skype, but you know, you would think if it was another woman, she didn't have her makeup on, or she had her head up in a towel, or something like that. She didn't want you to see. But this is a guy who, the guys don't care, and so he likes to Skype chat. And I do have a client who works with a team member, and she does the same thing. She Skype chats. Um, and some like Google Plus, or Google Hangout. I did interview some VAs last week. Needed a phone answering person so I could put in a quote for a potential client. My normal phone answering person, um, her schedule has shifted and she didn't have the dedicated time for phone answering. So I did some interviews on Skype and Google Hangout. None of them wanted to use FaceTime, but I do have FaceTime as well. I use FaceTime for my grandson in California, because his mom has an iPad and Apple computer. But it's just very important to have that video conferencing software, whatever the client is comfortable with. Email and text can be misinterpreted, the tone, or the way something is worded. So it's a really good idea in our industry to have a way of talking visually. A lot of clients need that. I had a client early on in my business who was in California, and she was more comfortable with me looking at her and talking to her. So that's real important. And then e-signature software. There are a couple of free ones out there. EchoSign, HelloSign. DocuSign is something you have to pay for, and I think there's a couple of others that you have to pay for. But I do back and forth between EchoSign and HelloSign, so that's really important to send contracts through instead of sending out a PDF that they have to print out, sign, rescan, and resend to you. And sometimes that can compromise the integrity of the document. It starts getting fuzzy. Or some people don't know how to scan in and send something back. So electronic software, and it makes you look more professional. Tammy, do you want to, let's see, you've got FreshBooks is what you use for time tracking. And you asked if ClientSpot keeps time and invoices. Yes, it does. It does both. And you also put that our clients, we have to build trust with our clients in the beginning. And if you can see our event page, one that's watching. Oh, that wasn't for the audience. Okay. But if you have any tools that you want to share, anyone that's watching, you can list them on our VA to VA page, and we can share them with everyone else. What do you use? We'd like to ask, what do you use?
We also will provide a list. The list of we've compiled a list of the things we use, and it's categorized based on collaboration and what communication or finance, and we'll provide that. And that's a working document, and we can add what people suggest as well, so that it's available to everyone. And if you want it, just send us a message, and we'll send it to you.
You can list them on our VA page. Now, Tammy, from what I'm seeing, I am like still talking from before on the VA to VA page. Do you see that? All right. Is there a way to fix that?
Oh, we also will provide a list. The list that
Interesting. Okay, it's on your page. Mute or delete that page so it's not going, or just pause it.
That's a working document that we can add.
You can pause it.
So that it's available to everyone. And if you want it, just
you
send
do
us
that.
a message and we'll send it to you. Oh, that's so funny.
All right. Let's see.
On our VA.
All right. Tammy, can you see if anyone has any tools that they would like to share or have any questions? Not yet? Okay.
I was going to
Nanette?
say, does anybody ever use Word, DocuSign, the signature in Word?
I never. Oh, you mean as a? I don't know. I haven't.
I don't. Does anyone use Word as a signature? I don't. I've always.
I know you can add it.
You could?
Oh, okay.
I didn't know you could.
Now, WiseStamp creates an email signature that you can use as well.
I had WiseStamp in it, but I had it as to customize your, you know how everyone has your signature after end of a email. I use WiseStamp for my Gmail account as well as my other accounts, because you can pick and choose which emails you want to have that signature. And I like it because you can put your social media links on there, and have it a little prettier than what you can get from the standard email. So I like using that.
Yeah, and I'm going to check that out because I've heard some good things about WiseStamp.
Do you use anything? Like sometimes you have to send stuff out for your client. So do you use anything for that signature when it's under their name? Or your name with their business? Can you understand me?
I can understand you. I don't understand the question.
Well, say I'm sending a letter, okay, and I'm working with a client, so I'm sending it out under my name, but saying I'm working with their business, not my own business.
Oh, okay. I do create letters for one of my clients, but I don't sign them myself. I create the letter and it has his signature. It's his template already. It's saved in my hard drive, and he contacts me when he needs the letter sent out. So I just type it up, and it has his signature at the bottom. I've not used anything where I'm working with a client and I'm sending something out to their client that has my signature on it, other than I do have one client that I send out emails for, but the email signature is already in there. You create the email signature, but nothing to where, looks like, smart handwriting or whatever.
Because I have several that I send emails, like you're saying, to different organizations or different venues, if we need things like that. And so I have to sign in my name, but under their business.
Okay, all right. Well, I just use the email signature software for that. Then we have like business tasks. Now, what type of software do you use to keep up with task lists or things like that?
With my
clients.
With my clients, I have, and I will be using Asana for because I think that's it's easy to collaborate, and they can see where I am, where I can put out, set out my projects, and they can see the timeline and what I'm doing. I've used it in my full-time job, and it works well. Um, some I have no problems with it. It's free, so that's what I like about it. Um, I know sometimes I have some coworkers or other clients that use Basecamp, and one thing that I like about using any of these tools is that once you're good at one, pick one that's good for your business. Once you're good at it, and you find a client that's using something that's similar but different brand, it really doesn't take you long to catch up to it. As long as you're proficient with one, they're basically all the same. They have little, different ways of doing it, but they all work basically the same. And so that I find that for me, using Asana helped me to use Basecamp or other systems that, but I made sure I was familiar with one and how it works first before I moved on to another. But I like Asana.
Kim Orsog, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says 17hats.com has been a great tool for me to use to send contracts out and receive them back electronically. I tried the free trial of 17 Hats. It didn't have at the time, and they're adding stuff all of the time, what I needed to justify, paying the monthly price. So I'm kind of holding back to see what all they add, and before I pay for it. I don't mind paying the monthly fee for it. It just needs to be meatier and have more features to it. But I'm glad to see that, and I already knew you could send out the contracts and receive them back electronically, and I do like that part of it. I'd have to go back in there to see, to list exactly what I would like to see them add. I think they had added a task timer, and maybe, I know you can invoice through them, but it wasn't compatible with QuickBooks. I think I was waiting on that. I had talked to their tech support, and they said they were looking into that. But I'm glad to see that someone is very happy with 17 Hats. Of course, a lot of us went in and used the free trial and asked back and forth in the forums how we were liking it. Some did, some didn't. Some were kind of waiting like me. But I'm glad to see that, it's working for Kim. As far as task management like that for me, Nanette, I have a client who uses Evernote and turned me on to Evernote, and it's shared. So now, not every aspect of it is shared, but this particular aspect of it, it's called Lisa's Project Notes. And I will have him, he will Skype chat with me or whatever about, or we use Zoho Projects as well for his business. But I can put in a list of tasks, and it allows you to put bullet points or a checkbox, however you want to list it. And he can go in, instead of using my client spot, he can go in and see what I've checked off, what still needs to be done on the days that I work with him.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
Evernote. And I really like it. Client Spot kind of does the same thing, but I kind of use that internally with my team, and then allow the client to come in and see what's being done. It's shared, but only, I basically use it on an internal basis. Let's see, what other ones? Customer relationship management, really important. We got to have a place to be putting our clients and even prospects and tracking those prospects. At what stage are they? Like, I've got a couple of quotes out right now people are looking at. I've got a quote that, should be coming back today as far as accepted. I've got clients in different stages. I do 3-month trials. So, I have one whose contract is coming up, the 3-month trial is coming up to the end. So we'll be talking today as to whether she wants to extend or not. So CRMs are really good for keeping track of your clients and themselves, not just the tasks, but the clients themselves, and keeps their contact information. They can integrate their emails into it, so all of their emails are compartmentalized. So Nanette, what CRM management tools do you use?
I have I have one client that I haven't really used any yet. I've used at work Salesforce, but I have a client that I got him up and running on Salesforce because I was helping him. They had Excel spreadsheets of all their clients, and they would all have different versions of what they said to each what updates they had. So it was kind of ridiculous. And since it was sales, I thought Ace of Sales was a good CRM for them. So in terms of working on one of my own, I don't really have one, although I want to start using one for me. But for the client, I have used Ace of Sales, and which is a CRM, and it's great because you could have more than one person on it, and so and everybody knows. You could categorize it by the type of client they are. If they're a prospect, if they're qualified, and you could send email newsletters out to them. So I thought it was really good for them. And it wasn't expensive. It wasn't free, but for the customers, like $20 a month. And but it allows them to have an unlimited list of customers. And also they could all share it and collaborate on it. So I set them up with that. So that's the only CRM I've ever done, really.
All right, what's that called again?
It's called Ace of Sales. ACE. Yeah, Ace.
Sales.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
There was a question, what happens I go back to what I was saying. There's a question, what happens at the end of the 3-month trial? Does the rate go up, or why 3 months? Just curious. No, my rate doesn't go up. I do 3-month trials because I don't want a new client, especially those that have never worked for the VA before, to feel locked in when they hear contract. They've never worked with a VA before. It's not somebody that they have control over as far as hire, fire, type thing. So I give a 3-month trial for them to get used to either me or the team member they're going to be working with, to get the systems in place, to make sure that the personalities mesh. I haven't had it happen but one time that I've had to switch a client to another team member. If any of us have ever been in the workforce before, we know we don't get along with everybody. As good as somebody's job may be or their skill sets, there could be a personality clash. I've gone through it myself. So I just want the client to feel comfortable, not feel locked in, and a couple of weeks before the 3-month trial is over, we have a conversation to see how things are going. Of course, I've been communicating with them throughout the time, but just to see if it's a good fit and if they want to move forward to a long-term contract. And Tammy was saying that Oprius is another good CRM. She was telling us about that before we began the hangout. And here's another question. Are your contracts after the 3 months, they're locked in for a year? It's open-ended. There's no end date. We just move forward into a long-term relationship with a clause in the contract that if either one of us wants to leave the relationship, we give a 30-day written notice. So I don't lock them into a certain time period after that. We just move into a long-term relationship. Coach G. Moore has something to say. Customer relations management, yes. That's what a CRM, yes. And customer experience management. CEM is a must. Customer experience management. would you like to expand on that a little bit? What do you consider customer experience management? And while he's adding that, Nanette, what does that mean to you?
A customer experience manager management
Management.
system.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think. Well, I don't know much about it, to tell you the truth. I never thought that that's something that I would need, but I guess it means I don't see it. I don't see it as that different from a CRM, I would think, except that it's more personalized, I guess, experience. But I don't know how that makes it any different. I think it's a combination of marketing, um, sales, and services all together. And I guess it depends on what kind of business you're in. Um, I think it's probably a more integrated CRM if that's what this person is talking about. Um, for me, being small and just out of the box, and the type of business I personally have, it's not something I think I would look into. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't consider it if as I grow, as I hope to do in the future. But I'm not too familiar with it.
What about you, Tammy?
Possibly. Well, if you can hear me, possibly I was thinking maybe means feedback from clients or testimonials, like in FreshBooks. You can send out something to say, rate me, that kind of thing. So, and I know there's other systems out there that do that you can send to your clients to rate you, and then it goes into a system as well.
Well, I think that's very interesting. Customer experience management, and what it means to me, just right off, um, is like you said, the feedback, but listening, doing a lot of listening, finding out what the client's real needs are, where their stressors are, um, what they're really struggling with, their challenges, things like that. And then giving them the experience to where they're seeing a return on that investment in us.
Right.
When we take those stressors off of their plate, when we are dealing with their challenges to where they're not challenges anymore, when we're smoothing out the wrinkles in their business, then we are giving them a real experience in managing those, those stressors or those challenges. Um, CEM, Tammy looked it up, the collection of processes a company uses to track, oversee, and organize every interaction between a customer and the organization throughout the customer life cycle. And you learn something new every day. I had not heard of that. So that is something. Oh, Nanette, you looked it up.
Yeah, I did.
I guess I thought the quiet one over there. But that's very useful, and that's something that I'm going to research and look more into. Maybe we take that for granted in our
Yeah.
day-to-day interactions with our clients, but
Right.
it's something that I'm sure we really need to focus on. And I'm going to have my team meeting later this month, and I believe that I will bring that up as one of the subject matters, the customer experience management.
Yeah, I think when I was building my templates and everything, I noticed that some of the forms that I was purchasing to tweak for my business, a lot of them had surveys, that you would give to your customer, customer satisfaction surveys. And I would think that this probably takes that away, if you use something like this. And this way you get feedback, you can track if you're meeting the customer's expectations and what you need to do to tweak it so the next experience, the next customer will be better.
Okay. Um, Coach G. Moore says Whole Foods is another example of the customer experience management. Um, so thank you for sharing that, and that's piqued my interest in something that I'm going to look into more and more in depth and talk to my team about. What's another one, Nanette, that is real important for VAs with teams to use as far as tools of the trade?
I would think that, well, I like I like to be able to do what use Skype or use Adobe Connect or for several reasons. I can't always do face to face, especially if I have someone working for me that's in Massachusetts, and I can keep go. It's only an hour and a half from where I live, but I don't want to keep traveling that far. But so having the Skype or Adobe Connect, so we can share a screen. If I have something if I want to teach her something, bring her up to speed on a client, so that collaboration, video collaboration, I think is great. And it takes away from having to be there in person. And then she could see me. It's not just a email or phone conversation. We can actually see each other, and I find that as close to being there, and I think that's helpful. And I think that's something that you should have, especially also with a customer. I have a customer that I'm going to be starting work on in California, and although we talk on the phone, having the ability to see each other, I think is going to be helpful. And I like promoting that. I don't think people do that enough, and I don't find anything wrong with being able to use video. I think that makes them more comfortable with me. They're actually seeing me and getting used to. This may be a small thing, but my personal mannerisms, and so as she gets more familiar with me, we have a more comfortable relationship.
I agree. I agree. What kind of, let's see, email marketing is popular with you?
I've been using Aweber. I know that's a popular one that everyone uses, although it's not free. And I was looking at, but I like Mailchimp. I've used that with another customer, and that is free. You could do a lot of email marketing, newsletters and announcements, and through Mailchimp and without having to pay. And I like that one. And but for my personal use, I've been using Aweber, and I think most customers use Aweber, and that's why I think I chose that, because I wanted to be familiar with what potential customers are using, and so that I don't have to take too long to get up to speed. I know it already. But I personally like Mailchimp.
I do too. How about you, Tammy? Which one do you like?
I'm using MailChimp at the moment for a client as well. I've never tried the other. I haven't had too many clients that needed it. So MailChimp is actually fairly new to me. I've not had a lot of emails to do like that, blasts and things. But one of my clients is a sales manager, and we're doing it. And it works really well.
I use MailChimp myself for my business, and it's most popular with the clients that I do perform email marketing for. I have one client, young woman, who owns a bakery, and she has her website on Vistaprint, and they also offer newsletters. With her bakery, she not only makes sweet treats, but she caters to birthday parties, weddings, and she offers little lunch boxes to businesses that she'll cater lunches on Fridays. And so we send out a lunch menu every week to her mailing list through Vistaprint. And there have been some issues for the last 2 weeks. We haven't been able to upload any images, and tech support says their engineers are working on it, but engineers over a week cannot figure out how to add images. Okay, so I suggested to her that she use MailChimp, so she went in. She said that wasn't the first time she had issues with Vistaprint, so she went in and created herself an account on MailChimp, and we're going to use MailChimp from now on for her lunch menus and newsletters. And people can say what they want, but Vistaprint websites are good to start off with. They're good to start off with. So is Wix and some of the other free website hosters. But when you start building a following and your business starts growing, I always myself suggest WordPress because it's more customizable and it's more Google sticky, as they say. And so eventually I'm going to turn her on to a WordPress website as well. But I do favor MailChimp. I have used Constant Contact. There's nothing wrong with Constant Contact. I have not used Aweber yet. Not to say that I won't. But you know, if y'all, I don't know if y'all noticed it or not. I'm sure you have. When we are working with clients that have their own systems in place and we are tapping into what they use, it's building our skill sets. It really does. It makes us more marketable. We can move on to other clients. We can jump on our website and say, we can offer this, because then we know how to use it. I mean, I wish I knew how to use Infusionsoft, and at some point I'm going to take the course to learn Infusionsoft. It's getting more and more popular, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get much farther with a team without either bringing someone on that's experienced in it or learning it myself. And I mean, who better to learn it than the team leader? So it's something I'm going to invest in to learn Infusionsoft. Any other? Let's see.
I've used Salesforce because that's what we had here at my full-time job. But you know, the thing about Infusionsoft and Salesforce is they're expensive, and to me, they're for larger companies. So I need to know it in case I have a client that's using it. Say if they are a business of 50 people and I'm doing contracting work for them, I need to know it for that reason. But for myself, it's overkill. Zoho or something like, or not Zoho, but another software that's maybe for the small business owner is better for me. But it's good to know. And you're right. I do want to take a course and learn how to Infusionsoft, because now and then I see customers who are asking for someone who has that skill level to help them out in their business, and I don't know it. So.
Susan Mershon that we had on a month or two ago teaches that course. So she's one that does have that skill set and teaches it, I know.
Right. And that's probably who I'm going to take the course from, because she is experienced in it. File sharing, YouTube. Well, file sharing is another one that that's very important to have when you're working with a team or with a client.
Mm-hmm.
We have Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive. I've used Google Drive and Dropbox for file sharing, and I love them both. I don't know if anyone watching has another program that they use or would like to share, but Dropbox seems to be very popular. It's very user friendly, and it'll take images, files, PDFs,
and it's free.
And it's free.
Like Google Drive.
Yeah, like Google Drive, which is very universal. You have Google Calendar, Google Drive. It's very, very versatile. And then web conferencing. A lot of us as VAs are doing webinars or web conferencing with our team. I have a client who sends video notes to me. It helps a lot because he puts a screen up. He says, I need you to do work on this, this, and this, and this, and I can visually see what he's wanting me to take on with his projects. Web conferencing or video conferencing software can include Join.me, AnyMeeting, Adobe Connect, Google Hangout, and even Zoho Meeting, which is what my client uses, Zoho Meeting.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Those are important too.
I've never used Outlook. I see that you wrote, does anyone use Outlook Calendar? Not for collaboration purposes. I haven't, I mean, it's great for me, but I don't. Um, I don't know unless you have 360 and then you share and then you have other people on OneDrive and then you have the calendar, using that. Because to me, 360, Microsoft 360 is like Google Apps for work, where everybody's collaborating and using this Gmail and doing. Then that's where Outlook would be useful, I would think, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Nanette.
No, well, I was just saying, I noticed that Tammy wrote down about, I think it was Tammy, I love Google Calendar. And I found this software when I was building our list that allows you to really customize your Google Calendar so that it's a sort of an addition or to it. And I put it up on the list, though I don't. I've never used it, but it sounded really interesting that you could use it on Google Calendar, so you can organize yourself for tasks and also for collaboration.
That's true. That's true. Um, and
What's that called?
It's called. I put it under. Um, Let me just find it.
and for our viewers, we have a list in front of us that we are using for the Hangout, but we
Right.
are more than welcome to sharing it with you. If you would like to put in your email address and get a list of these tools that we are talking about and others
Hmm.
that we have on the list, we are, willing to share it with you. We'd be more than happy to. We wish we could put the document up on the page, but we haven't figured a way to do that yet. So the easiest way may be to just give us your email address, and we're happy to share it with you. Nanette put it together for us.
It's called Active Inbox. So
Okay.
that's what it's called, and you can have a free trial, and I love free trials, so you can figure out if it really works. But it's for anyone who likes who likes using Gmail, um, and Calendar, and wants it to work like a task manager. So I thought that was interesting.
Yes, it is. I see that here under business tasks. You added that,
All right,
and I'll put a circle around that and check that out myself.
right.
Um,
I
and
also highlighted it to check out. Thanks for that, Nanette.
You're welcome. I like finding new things. It's always about productivity. I mean, that's really why we want to bring have this conversation, is that, how do you become as efficient and organized and productive as you can. And there's a lot of tools out there. So, and if you're just starting out, if they're free, that's probably the best way to go until you can, But of course, their free is always what's called freemium. It's like limited. It's not. You can't have full access of their software until you pay for it. Yeah.
right, exactly.
Also, I just want to mention that although we're doing a VA to VA hangout, a lot of these tools are good for everybody in
Right.
business. So,
That's right. It's
I
not
mean,
just VAs.
and once we, master them and learn them, we can suggest them to clients.
Right.
They'll be asking us, what is the best way to do this or that? I get asked that a lot. I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot. And if I'm familiar with a certain program, then I am comfortable in suggesting something that's going to work for their particular business. And they appreciate that. I mean, we're not just somebody in the background taking care of PDFs and tasks and things like that. We're becoming a vested part of their business. That's how we want to come across. We want to be a long-term partner in their success. And in order to do that, giving feedback to the client um, as to suggestions and ways to help them grow,
Hmm.
they can't even pay for that.
Right. Right. They don't have time to do that investigation, right? I mean, and that's our job. And we should be consultants in that. We're willing to find out about these systems and how well they work, and so that we have a wide range of tools to offer to our clients. So
Exactly. And
yeah.
we haven't even talked about like Facebook groups.
No, and you use that, don't you?
I do. I have a closed group or private group for my team, and we go in there and share articles and things that are going on with each other, prayer requests. Somebody may have a family member in the hospital or ill, or they may be ill themselves, or a challenge that they're dealing with, or they may just want to vent. You know, this client is driving me nuts. Does
Exactly.
anybody have any suggestions on how to deal with this? So we use it to, stay in communication with each other. I'll post our team meetings on it, things that I'm learning in the forums, the public groups that I'm learning. I'll share with my team because not all of them are in the forums that I'm in. So yeah, Facebook groups are good, and the public ones, I mean, and just like our G Plus communities, we get a ton of information from each other, free information. We share stuff with each other, and we can jump in and ask a question, and somebody's going to have a good answer for us. Or, I've even seen VAs get on there and say, "Hey, I'm in this state or this city. Who's nearby? I'd love to, meet up with you." And people are actually getting in their cars and driving to, meet each other. And you can't put a price on that, and it's great. And you see a lot of industries where people are doing the same thing. There's a lot of competition, backstabbing, cattiness, things like that. But in our communities, I see nothing but sharing and caring. And, we can actually post, be praying for my uncle who's having surgery next week. And there are people out there that are actually praying. So the open groups and even the closed groups for a team are a good idea to stay in contact with each other and collaborate. It's different from email.
Right. Right. And also, I see Tammy said um, about the graphics. That's another thing that should be in our repertoire, right? Sites that allow, I guess, stock photos, right? And free. Free is always better. I have an account with iStock. Yeah, iStock photo or iPhoto stock, something like that. But it's not. It's I have to purchase them. It's not free, but I like free better. And I use it on occasion. What I tend to do is that if I have to pay for something like that, that's the cut for a customer, then the customer is paying for it. So that helps me. It's for myself. I'm going to the free sites. You know, um, but I saw that you had a bunch out on there, Tammy, on for graphic images, like Presenter Media, which is a subscription service. Do you use that one? And Canva?
Oh yeah, Canva, definitely.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of Canva.
Oh, you have to check out Canva. It's
Okay.
great. And then I have downloaded software that was my husband bought years ago. Paint Shop Pro works very well for me for my graphics, but
Okay.
Canva is very, very good.
Okay. That's good to know.
Hmm.
And there's a whole bunch of them. But I noticed that there's and they all have different pricing. How they work. Like some of them make you buy credits, and then you can use them up pretty easily and fast. But I like the fact that iStock Photo has a lot of what they call signature images, and they're like 1 credit. So if I buy 15 credits, I'm not using it up really fast. I can use it. That's 15 images. If I'm sticking with the signature, and I find some pretty good stuff on there. Um, but again, I don't want to have to pay for it. My brother's a photographer, and I'm always saying, why don't you do some like generic stuff so I could just have them?
That's a good idea. My sister's a photographer.
There you go.
I'm gonna pull some stuff that she has taken pictures of. She's a really, really good, really, really good. So we have like 10 minutes left. Is there anyone that would like to share any tools that they have or have any questions as to what we have talked about so far? No? Okay.
One thing we didn't touch on is I just thought about it actually is stuff that allows you to do video, like Camtasia. Have either of you ever used Camtasia?
I have not. I have my website designer does video,
Oh,
and she's got her own programs, and I kind of lean in on her.
yeah,
So I'm kind of blank on the video software, but that's very important. It is.
yeah. Yeah, especially if you're trying to save money and you want to do it yourself and you want it just easy. I know that Camtasia is really cool because say you want to do training for your clients. What Camtasia does is it will video your screen. So you can open up. Say you wanted you did a website through, I don't know, Weebly, and you want to teach them how to use a dashboard themselves. You can actually tape it, a video, and run it and go through it and talk, and it records it, and it's so easy to edit, and then it's done in a second, and you can send it to your client or upload on YouTube if it's an advertisement to yourself, or you want to start doing YouTube videos. So I like Camtasia. It's very easy to learn.
Okay, I'm going to check that out as well.
Okay.
What is it? What is it called?
It's called Camtasia. I'll write it. I'll put it on the list. Actually,
Okay.
I'll put a video category on that list and list some of the type of like there's Powtoons if you want to do an animated commercial. You know Powtoons. I love Powtoons.
Also, I don't know if everybody knows the newer versions of PowerPoint. You can actually create a video and turn it. So it's not just a slideshow. You can actually turn it into a video now, and you can input, like you can make a video of yourself and put it into that and everything. It's really cool. I've done.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Camtasia used to be able to be an add-on to PowerPoint, but now they do it themselves, so that's cool. Yeah.
So what newer version of PowerPoint is that? It's like 2014, 2015?
15.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
I know.
It's either 2013 or 14. I just, when I got my new computer, I had to do that. So I think that was 2013.
Okay.
And of course, if you do the 360 program where it's monthly, then you're up and running too.
Yeah. I just started 360 when I got my new computer laptop, so I have to play with it and get familiar with everything that's there. I still trying to figure it out, but I do see how you can invite people on. So it could be a customer, it could be a team member, and you could all share and collaborate with OneDrive and things like that. So I have to get familiar with it and start using it more.
I've heard really good things about 360. I haven't tried it yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing on my bucket list, along with Infusionsoft,
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, the more we learn, the higher our skill sets get.
Right.
And I'm always up for learning. You can't be in this business and not. So I'm glad that you said that. And I've heard all good things about 360.
Wow, that's good. Yeah. So far I like it a lot. So I'm finding myself using the cloud more and more to keep my laptop free of using so much memory. I mean, there's so many applications that we need to be proficient on, and if I'm downloading all of them, I'm gonna quickly run out of room. So using a lot of cloud-based applications, it's just I'm finding myself loving it.
I use Google Drive now to store messages on. I was using SkyDrive or OneDrive, but I was having trouble with it. And then my IT person suggested getting rid off of that and just putting it all on Google Drive, and that's a really good system. And I find that way, if I'm out and have my iPad, I can still get into what I need to do too.
Right. That's true. Anywhere you are, you could get your stuff. And it's funny because I have a personal Google account. I have my professional. So in terms of how much space I have a lot. So yeah, that's a good thing. and you can put so many pictures up there, you know, and images, and that's great too, because if I'm meeting with a customer, I'm you know, it all means how do you manage yourself, and getting into good habits and processes. It's so easy to save it to your desktop, and then you leave like I did last night with this list, you know, and I left it at work on my other computer. But if I get into the habit of putting everything on Google Drive, everything, then I have it no matter where I am, you know.
I have realtor clients that love Google Drive.
You do? Yeah.
All right, we have, yeah, they use Google Drive a lot, and it's a good way to, I mean, just share things. You can, plus you can create spreadsheets. Like for the realtors, they like to get feedback from their listings being shown, and a spreadsheet can be set up with the seller's name and have the feedback, and then you can send it to the agent and you can send it to the seller. So Google Drive is very good to have. Plus, well, some people don't want to put passwords on there.
I was going to say, just be very careful and make sure your privacy settings are set correctly, or you may be sharing everything with everybody if you're not.
Right. Right.
But other than that, it's great.
Right. And that's another thing I think we should add a category to the list is password. You know, the software that you can list all your passwords and it's encrypted, and you can find it, and you know, that's something that we should put on the list as well, and I'll add to that, you know. And I guess we're
okay. I use Password Box.
Use what?
Password Box.
Oh, good one. I'll put that on the list.
Another one is LastPass. LastPass is a real popular one too.
Okay, that's good to know. I tried one once, and I forgot my password, and I couldn't get back in because it doesn't allow you to. It was like useless, so I just took it off my computer. It's like, oh, that doesn't help at all.
That happened to me once when I first started using Password Box, but I ended up writing down my main password, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen but once. I didn't have but a few passwords in there, thankfully, but it didn't happen but once, and now I know my main password.
Oh, that's good. So I guess we're getting near the end of it, and if anyone has any additions, please post it on the site, on the VA to VA site, and I can add it to the list. And if you want the list, definitely send us a message, and we'll make sure, and we'll send it to you, or email it to you. Just make sure you have your email address, and or send us a message, and we'll send it to you. But
right, we'll be checking the VA to VA page after this Hangout on Air, and if you watch the recording, get on the page, give us your email address, and let us know you want the list.
Right. Great. So I guess that's really near the end. So I have 2 more minutes, unless somebody wants to talk about something. But this has been great, I think, and it's nice to know what people are using, and there's a lot for me to investigate now. So.
Right, and if anyone has anything that they would, like to share and add to the list, Nanette will be watching the page, and she can add it to the list and send it out to everyone. We love feedback.
Yep. Okay, then.
All right, well, we will wrap it up, and we will see.
What was that?
I just said thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming and listening and watching, even if you're watching the recorded version. And we will be back next month with another VA to VA Hangout on Air.
Yeah,
have a good week.
And hopefully with Tammy's voice, right? Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.